Hey guys, welcome to the video. So I've been thinking and decided I want to do a little video series on the cost of flight training. So today I want to break down what it cost me and my time frame to go through my private pilot license. And this was attending a Part 61 flight school and some independent instruction at the very beginning. But I just want to break it down so you guys can have a kind of an idea of what these different ratings can be obtained cost-wise. Of course, you see different advertisements on different schools' websites and want to see if those are accurate. So yeah, come along today as I break it down. I'm currently a commercial pilot with an instrument rating and working on my CFI, which I'm a couple weeks out from doing my check ride for that. So I just did my flight instructor airplane written test. I'm at the airport, so this is where the airplane I'm a club member in is hangared at. So while I'm here, I'm going to go head over there, do a pre-flight, and come along with me on a flight to Delta, Utah. And when we get there, we'll kind of break it down a little more and run through some of the numbers. We'll see you along the way. All right, airplane's all tied down. Gonna go get the crew car and head to town. All right, so I'm now in the crew car, which is also another fun aspect of general aviation. Is a lot of the airports, the little municipal airports throughout most places have a courtesy car or a crew car available. So pretty simple checkout process. I mean, you got to sign for it and everything, but I was able to check out this crew car and head into town, grab a bite to eat. All right, and just like that, back at the Delta airport with a full belly. And as I promised, we'll start breaking down my flight training for my private pilot license. So initially I started my training out of the Ely airport in Ely, Nevada back in August of 2023. So I was with the independent instructor out there. There was an airplane that was available. I was using the airplane at a very low, cheap rate, essentially paying for gas, and it used MoGas. And then I paid my instructor, and I think I calculated it at $45 an hour, I think is what I was paying him. So I kind of broke that segment down, but I did that from August of 2023 until early October 2023, and then that came to a stop. I went in to get my medical. I ended up getting my medical deferred, which maybe I'll do a whole video about that, the process and how that came out. Ultimately got it obviously fully cleared, first class medical. Just took some time. But in the meantime, while I was deferred, the airplane that we were using was sold, and the instructor decided he was going to take a break from instructing and I think do some contract work, or maybe just was done instructing. He was a high time retired career pilot, so it was just kind of something he was doing essentially out of a lot of generosity. And but that got my feet wet, my foot in the door for flight training, and just really got things started off. So I flew about, I calculated it earlier, 16.4 hours is what I accumulated from August, toward the end of August to early October. So we were moving along pretty good flying part-time. I was working full-time at the time. And I have a little breakdown here. Let's see, took some notes. So during that time, I spent about $1,073, which again, that airplane rate is extremely low. You're not gonna find that anywhere, but super grateful for the owner who was letting me use it for that rate. Again, got my foot in the door, really confirmed that I did want to pursue my ratings. But again, $1,073 was initially spent there, and I accumulated 16.4 hours. Then again, I was deferred from October 11th until about of 2023, and I didn't get my actual clearance until June of 2024. So we're at $1,073 so far. And then I started my full-time flight training in Spanish Fork at Phoenix Flight Academy in November of 2024. So taking essentially over a year off. It had been a full year since I had flown. Then starting November 4th, 2024, I started full-time, and I accumulated from there until my check ride, which was on February 18th, 2025. So November, December, January into February, close to, well, let's see, December, January, about 3 months. I don't know, some quick math there. About 3 months it took me to get my private pilot certificate, training essentially full-time, flying multiple times a week. And right before my check ride, scan it through the logbook. Before my check ride, I had 68 hours total time. Now, we'll subtract from that the 16.4 of my initial time back in 23 at Ely. So essentially at Phoenix Flight Academy with my doing full-time with the one instructor, hitting it from November until February. I logged total time there 51.6 hours. And again, I don't want to get in the weeds too much, but I want to be fully transparent when I break this down. But if we just look at that time, I spent on flight instruction, including ground lessons, at Phoenix Flight Academy, $10,637, which I think is really good. Their website, I was looking at it recently, their website advertises about $11,000, so very much in line. Again, let's say we split the difference of the 16.4, and maybe if I didn't have that at all, maybe it would have added, let's say, 8 hours on with Phoenix, because yeah, it gave me some good ground basis, but also it had been a long time since I've flown, total new airplane. So let's just say we split the difference there and it was only half that, so we can add 500. We're still, you know, 11,100, or add a little more than that at the Phoenix rate. But regardless, between the two of those, we're at 1,073. So all in, flight instruction, ground, training from an instructor, $11,710, 0 to PPL. Not including the check ride and all that, but instruction, and that ended up being, what did I say earlier? I think 68 hours total. Yes, 68 hours total time, $11,710. So, training at a Part 61 school, it is very doable around that price range. Some other costs that I just kind of broke down here as well to keep in mind. So, let's see here. At the time, it's still a busy training area over in Utah. At the time, it was very hard to get a check ride. So ultimately, I had a check ride, which was pretty rare, especially with the DPE I got. I had a check ride over in Spanish Fork, and then we had to cancel like the day before due to weather. So then I had also been talking to another one out in Nevada who had an opening pop up. So while I had to cancel and was postponed to an undetermined time frame from the one in Utah, the guy in Nevada had one open up, and he was willing to meet me in Ely, which was, he's out of Fallon. He met me in Ely, but that also took a lot of logistics and back end to get the airplane to Ely for the check ride, to get the DPE from Fallon to Ely for the check ride. So that also added some cost. So just for my instructor, because I was in Ely when I found out that the DPE had an opening on his schedule, my instructor was super great. He flew the plane from Spanish Fork to Ely, stayed the night at my house. We did a little practice flight the day before, and then the check ride obviously the next day. But just working all that on the back end, the time for the airplane, some time for the instructor. I paid him a day rate on one of the days because he lost out on all the lessons, and then also he got paid the instructor rate while he flew the plane to and from Ely. That cost me an additional $1,480.45. Yeah, this isn't going to apply to most people, so I don't really include it in the total, but just throwing that out there. The check ride itself was a $1,000 check ride fee for my PPL. And then I also paid, I would just say a travel fee, but airplane fuel because the DPE flew in. I filled up his airplane. I think it was around $250 to $295. I can't remember specifics. So $1,250 for the check ride fee. So if we want to go total, we'll just run it again. Add in the 1480, 45 plus 1,250. Plus 11,710. So grand total, making it all happen, check ride, everything, getting the plane to Ely, back to Spanish Fork, training wise, airplane wise, check ride fee, I'm $14,440.45. So pretty good. I think that I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. And again, I just want to give that realistic, what can it actually be done for, and through my experience, that's what I paid. Initially, the airplane rate at Phoenix, when I started there, Phoenix Flight Academy in Spanish Fork, was $135. I believe initially there was already the fuel surcharge. It did go up in 2025 to $145, but this reflects that. So yeah, very fair, I feel, and good quality training. I've had one instructor for all of my ratings, and I've passed my check rides first time every try. So I couldn't be more happy with the level of training, the equipment, and everything I've received there. Some other costs that are just going to be pretty typical. Logbook, $12.55. My first headset was a Rugged Air headset off of Amazon. Jumped on and ordered that. That was $87.99. An iPad mini, $278.99. A knee board for the iPad, $59.95. Medical exam, around $150 to get your medical, first class medical. And then also you will need a good ground school. I would recommend it. You don't have to. Some people can just do it through the books and their instructor. Again, you're going to be paying hopefully probably a ground rate if you do it with your instructor anyways. So good self-paced ground school that I used was Sporty's Learn to Fly. That was $299. So I'm not going to throw those in. Those are just kind of independent and things, yeah, you'll need, but those can vary widely. But there's an idea for you. Let's see. But yeah, long story short, again, grand total $14,440. But if we want to just isolate that, I think it was $11,710 for flight hours, airplane use, and instructor for my PPL. So there's the grand total for you. Thanks for hanging out, listening to my rant. All right, well, that's the breakdown. Thank you for listening to my spill. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully you found something you can take away from that. And if you're on the fence about starting or have those questions, hopefully that answered some for you. my 2 cents would be do something today that's going to put you a step closer. So if you're watching this right now, you're thinking about doing flight training, take the first step. Jump on Amazon, spend $100 or spend $12 and get a logbook, right? Now you have a logbook, throw your name in it, and you got to go fill that bad boy up, right? So $12 right there. You could rent a headset from a school if you need to, but I like to have my own. Spend $100, have a logbook and a headset, and that's a nice first step towards your flight training, right? Then find a school in your area or an instructor in your area and go up for an introductory flight and just take those steps and then let it progress from there. Make sure it's something you like, make sure you don't get motion sick in the airplane, all those things. But take the step today that you've been thinking about. If this sounds like something you want to do, take that step and go find out. Maybe it is and you're already got the ball rolling, or maybe you find out it's not. But take that step today. If you're looking for a school in your area, make sure you do some good, deep, thorough research. Read the reviews online, talk to students, call and talk to the managers or instructors and ask the questions that you're wondering. They'll take the time to talk to you. Also don't pick a school solely based on being the lowest cost. That's probably not a good parameter, but if they check all the boxes and happen to be the lowest cost, that's a great bonus. And that was the case in my situation, and I didn't pick it due to cost. It just happened to be a very nice side effect, right? So, or bonus there. So take those steps today, jump on, order that logbook, schedule an introductory flight, and share your experience. Leave a comment below. Let me know, kind of what your cost ended up being and your experiences along the way. And I'll do some more videos of my instrument, my commercial, and then eventually my CFI rating and the breakdown on each of those. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna return this car and go do a pre-flight and head back to Provo. And just like that, back to the condo for the night. Gonna log my flight, maybe edit this video and hang out. So thank you for coming along, and I'll see you in the next video.